I'll tell you, there are several people in our congregation dealing with illness today. And so we really want to lift them up. A couple people, too, who received a diagnosis today. And so it's just really been a tough time for so many, but they're feeling supported and blessed by the ministry. And so all of you that are on this call are part of that. So thank you. So Dorothy and I have been busy with that today from different households, but
thank you for making the call when you did to not meet in person. I really appreciate your wisdom and your realization that this was the right time.
Thank you. The very good thing is that I know a lot of people around the country in really influential positions. And the several I know in healthcare are so mindful. One's from our ministry and has worked in healthcare for 40 years. And he's who I call one of the people I called. And he said, I will say it as simply as I can. I've worked in healthcare in 40 years. In that time, nor before, have I seen anything like this. Yes, close. So I was happy to get that affirmation, but it just came right through from Spirit that, it was time, and we were ahead of the curve a little bit, than most churches. But I feel really good about that we were. And Dawn, welcome to you. I know that you did a meditation at 6:15. Oh, sorry, you're still muted. There you go.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it went from the other side. It was kind of different doing it online, so hopefully it came across as well as I intended.
Yes,
I'm sure I'll get a debrief from Shannon later.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it did. And I had some very meaningful conversations today about the spiritual journey. So I want to wait a couple more minutes just to make sure everybody's on before I start, because I'm afraid once I start, it's going to be quite a download. So I would encourage you to, Dawn, Deborah is saying it was perfect. There you go. Don always does wonderful meditations. He's super
always does.
Always. Somebody else, that's probably Rory. Great job. Good. I'm going to put on a little music. This is one of my new favorite artists, and I'm about to interview him in the next month on the podcast. His name is East Forest. And so I'll play that for the next couple minutes just while we're waiting.
Do you want to know what enlightenment is? It's with you every moment. It's a back and forth. Letting go of your attachment to yourself, to outcomes, letting go to the way things are. If I could let go of everything, or I could let go of right or wrong, it would get deeper and deeper. And it was amazing. lifetime of judgment against myself. And letting that go. With thoughtless breath, instant bliss returns. Instant infinity.
And so, with that energy, we become present to the here and now moment. We connect in with one another on a soul basis. Last evening, we talked about. Last evening, we talked about release, surrender, and awakening. And I want to recap that a little bit, even though it looks like everybody that's on was here. I'd love to hear, first of all, if anybody worked with that in the last 24 hours and how that landed, that we begin releasing old habits, old ways of doing, and that surrender was the deeper level of release, and that then, it's after this that the awakening comes, and it's a moment by moment process. Rory, did you want to share?
Yeah, yesterday when we talked about release, I had to learn how to release what the time that I had to be able to let go of what does not serve me.
Mm-hmm.
So my release was release of time that I spend on everyone else and everything else, and know that that's my time.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Beautiful. It's a great awareness, Rory. Mm-hmm. Good. Anybody else? Shannon, go ahead. I can't hear you though, actually. And it looks like Donald was going to pop in, or maybe decided not to as well. Go ahead, Shannon, try again.
I just have noticed.
Nothing.
Hear me? Okay.
Nothing from Dave either. Dave, you're showing muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is your mic turned down on your mixer, Shannon? Okay.
Okay, let's try it now, Shannon. Now try.
Anything? Check.
There you are.
Oh, hey.
Whatever that is, just turn it up. Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you go. I
Breathing.
unmuted you from here. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. I've just noticed that I'm already craving normalcy, if that makes sense. And so I've had to be really deliberate. Kind of a workaholic, and I like work, and I like what I do, and I like who I do it with and for. And, just like Rory said, the I guess growing the ability to make space and time for myself to deal with it, if that makes sense. I'm helping so many other people do things and cope, and I'm helping music teachers and, this whole thing. And, just we all need some level of normalcy, and this is just the beginning. And so just working with that of like, okay, God is right here in this moment with me, whether I'm feeling rested or not, and whether I'm feeling fatigued or not. So that's just kind of what I've been thinking about the past 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Good, good. I bet a lot of us are feeling that very same way. I mean, I think what seems to be consistent in all the people I talk to is we're all in this together. We're all in a place of trying to figure out what's next. We're all in a place of having to release the old ways. And again, as I said last night, we talk about change all the time. Talking about it and experiencing it at this level is something unlike, I think, most, if not all of us, could not even prepare for. I don't know how you prepare for a change that's forced on you from the outside in such a way that is global in its approach. No one's left out of this. There's something about being very human in the midst of it. Dave, were you going to say something? Sorry.
No. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. No, that's okay. That's okay. Donald, not Donald Cadman, but Donald C. Were you going to pop in, or maybe that was by accident? I'm not sure. I just want to check in. Dawn is checking in. Great. Dawn, what do you got for us? Or no?
Yes, I'm here finally.
Yay.
Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Dawn, is there anything you want to share about your process right now, or you're just letting us know you're here? Either way is fine.
Well, I had chimed in, but I couldn't hear anything. I had to wait till my daughter came to help me. So I missed the first portion, but I enjoyed Don's meditation.
Oh, good. No, that's okay. No, what we were saying, we all need to hear this multiple times, that last night we were really talking about how we were all being asked to release old ways of doing, being, thinking, and on virtually every level that I know of. I mean, you can't even just get in your car and go to the bank, checking the mail is suddenly a dangerous activity. Where's the mailman? And so we said that all of us were kind of forced into release, but then the deeper work is, okay, what though is mine to release about the illusion of control, aspects of the ego. And we said even more deeply was this idea of surrender, where it's like the deeper level of release. And then in fact, after we do that, that's when the awakening comes. So just to catch everyone up, that's really where we are from last night. So I want to make room for anybody else to check in that would like to, and if not, I want to move into some material that'll take us even a little bit deeper. Anybody else want to check in from last night, what you've been working on in the last 24 hours? What I think is super important to realize spiritually is that what's being asked of us is something that's been asked for some time, but now it's like we're all moving, whether we want to move or not. We're all having to release. And so I want to talk about what it is I think we are releasing and why. So up until this point, all of us have identified with, I'm going to put this, actually, let me use black. With the personality even that goes to church, the personality that is a professional, the personality that is a woman or a man, the personality that is gay or straight, the personality that is young or old, the personality that has likes and dislikes, right? And for most of us, even when we think we're doing soul work, the focus has been the personality. And this is globally, this is not just us. And in our group, we are at least a little further ahead in that we realize we're a soul. But even in our work that is often therapeutic is fixing this. Fixing this. This is what we go to therapy for. Or this is what we see psychologists for. This is what we see psychiatrists for. This is who we buy clothes for.
This box into turn these two.
Right. So you
That
could, sorry, somebody needs to mute. I'm not sure who that is that we're hearing. So if you put your name in the middle of this and we can pick one. Anybody want to put your name in here? Shannon, okay. So Shannon, just share with us parts of your personality. You know what I'm talking about. So who are you in the world? You're a what?
I'm a creative.
Yep. And you are, the position you hold is?
Music director.
Yep. And what else do you do?
Graphic design.
Right. What else?
Web design.
What else?
Online support.
What else?
Caretaker.
What else?
Daughter. Daughter. Yes. Extreme introvert.
Wife.
Okay. Right. And right. Exactly. But what the goal is, of course, is to start having Shannon not have all of these barriers, because Shannon is more than what she does. Shannon is more than her birth order. Shannon is more than her age. Shannon is more than her past. Shannon is more than her graphic design. Shannon is more than being a spouse. Okay, so this is the expanded Shannon that has no boundary. And this is what this time is uncovering. We all are in the process of liberating ourselves from our self-imposed limits and what society thinks we should be. So this is the expanded Shannon, and she's coming forward now. Because she has to. Because I have to. Because you have to. This is what's being required of us. And so we know that all of us are here to, you know, we say we're here to grow, to expand, to change, to love, to, you know, to do all these many things. But the problem is we're still doing them at the level of the personality and trying to fix that. And the transcendent, I'm going to use Shannon because she was brave enough to raise her hand. The transcendent Shannon is there all the time. And even though she's trying to work on the personality, the truth is we just pull those parts aside and say, this is not those Shannon. And I'm talking about the big I now, right? The big I, the I that is the I am, right? So it's like Shannon with no limits of titles, of roles, because those roles have changed overnight. Even the things you're doing every day are suddenly brand new and you don't have a choice about it. So if we hang on to a personality self, which many are doing right now, that's why we see people engaging in really risky behaviors. You know, usually when I used to say that was about sex, but now it's about like being out of your house, about people engaging in risky behaviors, being in groups. I saw online that, you know, still some of our, you know, county and city leaders are going to restaurants. You know, who knew even were any were even open anymore. So these are all personality. These are all clinging to the past. And when the expanded Shannon is wanting to come forward, and that's true for all of us. This is very, very deep in its application. There's no more Dave the producer, it's just Dave. But it's expanded Dave. Bam. It's Cosmos in your center, Dave. Cosmos in your center, Elaine and Erica and Dorothy. It's not something that you make up or that you do or that you, it's like, it is the I am. And in that, we are not separate. So as Shannon moves into expanded Shannon, my I can talk to her I, and we know we're one. But if we're in the personality, it has to be a back and forth, and we have to do this thing. But instead, we can be in the expanded self and know we're one. So I know that I can't make a decision that doesn't impact Shannon, because Shannon is expanded like I am, like Dawn is, like Corey is, like Dave is. See, this changes everything. So what we're seeing, and it helps me to think about it this way, what we're seeing is the clinging to the human personality self when the essence of us is wanting to come forward. And we don't even hide anything that we've experienced. So let me say it this way. When we're in the personality, we're so busy trying to do it right. We're so busy trying to look good. We're so busy trying to show up a certain way. This, we just are what I'm describing. This is who I am. This is the expanded version of me. This is the I. And I am here, and I'm speaking from the cosmic I, all of us. I'm just saying it in the personal. I am here, right, to make people aware that are ready that this is our job on planet Earth. It's not to have a job and to have an income. Those are wonderful things, but those are all out of the personality. When you're in the I, all the things that you're doing simply because you are compelled and guided by this knowing self of you what to do next. So we're busting out of the boxed personality. And that's what we're all being asked to do right now. Everyone on planet Earth is being asked to do that right now. Stacy, I see you're coming on. I don't know if you're wanting to check in. It says connecting the audio. It could just mean you're coming into the class, but I want to mention if there's something you're trying to say, to go ahead and join with us and say it. I'll give you a space to do that. Okay, so Stacy's not saying anything. Okay. It could just be she's trying to ring in. Any thoughts on what I'm saying?
Is it weird to be excited during this time? Because what you just said is really exciting, but like it's in the midst of, the apocalypse or whatever.
Exactly. And that's what it takes to break down the egoic self, the personality self. And so, so often we've heard individual stories of people saying, my cancer is my greatest teacher. And most of us can't understand why someone with cancer would say that. They say that because it gets them to this self. They say that because the soul becomes the most important thing. The beingness, rather than the having and the doing, becomes the most important aspect. But to get to this essence, what happens has to happen, with this, is to let go. We have to be willing to let go of that self that we think we are. You know, that old saying, I think, therefore I am. No. I think, therefore I'm stuck, is more what that really means. So we're all being asked to live from a deeper level of awareness, this this expanded version of ourselves. I want to read something to you. I'm going to see if my assistant can bring it in. I didn't think to grab it. I wrote something recently, and it's on the door of my office at home. So I'm going to see if I can get my son to bring it to me. It's on this very thing, and I wrote it a couple of months ago, and I didn't understand it until today. So I hope that my son will bring it to me. Comments or questions on what I'm saying about this?
You know, this is Aggie.
Hey, Aggie.
Hey, you know, it's so hard to go from that personality, which we're all in at all times, and then feel like Shannon said, "Oh, I'm ready to go back," you know, but I know I can't. So there's that struggle. Like where I work, still open, so I'm struggling. I'm hoping that they're going to close tomorrow. But I really am not going to go back in. But just that I don't have to. Then I won't have to make that email. You know what I'm saying? But I know that's personality because I want to make sure that I have a job after all this is over with. You know, a part-time job, and that's personality. But it's just that I think it comes and goes in waves. You know, the personality is big, it's huge, it's what, you know, I've been with for, gosh, eons,
Yes.
decades. And so, you know, I've gone on my spiritual journey for the last, less than 20 years or so, but been pretty intense, and it's still loosey-goosey, kind of, you know what I mean? You know, I don't know if there's how do you know when all of the parameters are gone, when the boundaries, you let them go? I mean, there's no way of knowing, you know. It's just like, sometimes I feel really settled, and then somebody else can say something to me and get me fired up again, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if this means anything, but maybe he's giving you some fuel for your fire. I don't know. I would love more discussion on that. I don't know.
Well, yes, I think these are all wonderful points you're saying, and I think we can all relate to them because, yeah, there is certainly this, you know, ebb and flow of, you know, moments of being centered, and then, you know, life happening and the ego going, you know, that's a definite thing that we all go through. But I think, yes, you can know and feel it. And I think that there's always more. I think there's always growth. I was talking to a spiritual teacher of mine I've worked with, you know, off and on for 25 years. And she said today, I'm still growing. And what she can do in my presence is go into my energy field and tell me what I'm thinking. I mean, it's the most, it's utterly amazing to be a part of that. And she says to me, I'm still growing. So I think if we're on the earth plane, there are always levels of growth and more awareness. And I think the work gets more and more subtle as we go. So I think probably most of us live with 2 or 3 of those sides pretty well intact most of the time. And then we have these moments of transcendence and clarity. And so the idea is that then whatever you're doing in the outer is you're doing because it's guided, not because you want to do it or because you think you should do it or because somebody wants you to do it. You only do it because it's yours to do. So it is definitely a felt sense, but it's also an inner spiritual knowing, I think. And I do think there are many, many levels of consciousness. So I think you're right in the midst of it. You're right in the midst of it. So I was doing what I wanted to share real quick is I'd been doing some writing and some, I work a lot with cards. I think I've shared it with the staff and with the board where there are these cards I lay out and I pick a card every day. And I started writing this from, as a way of affirmation. I'll show you the picture. So this was the picture I had on my door that I was working with. And then there are two images that I chose. And they were both people of the stars. They had stars. They were stars, these cards that I chose. So I'm just going to read this to you. I am a star full of clarity and intuition. I shine brightly. As I shine, others will know their light. A star is calm and peaceful, but constantly evolving. It is a fixed, luminous point, yet it is constantly changing and moving. A star evolved until it goes back to source. To get back to source is a process of fusion, collapse, and conversion into a new state. Finally, the star expands and throws its essence back into an interstellar environment, creating new stars. The core of the star, I'm going to start that again. The core of the star is but a remnant, but its light has been multiplied throughout the galaxy. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That's what we are to be doing. And that's what we're doing right now. We are expanding. We are fusing. We are collapsing. We're converging. We're in a conversion into a new state. That's what we're doing spiritually. That's what we're doing. And the personality doesn't really get a say. It's happening. And it's happening on whatever level, our consciousness is ready. Some will be like drugged forth, holding on with their fingernails. Others of us will jump forward. Others of us are not going to do it. And it's time to leave this lifetime. And that's the space we're in. I'm not saying it's right or wrong if someone decides to leave this lifetime, because as we leave this lifetime, it's time to evolve again. But some of us need that process to stop, the earth process to stop, to go get some healing, to come back and try again. This is way bigger than what this looks like on the at the level of the mind. Jane Elizabeth Hart predicted this on May 15th, 2013. She predicted this virus. Also, Sylvia Brown predicted this virus as well. In 2020, they named it and said there's going to be an energy that's coming in, and it's going to be global, and it's going to go almost as soon as it came. It's a couple months coming, it's a couple months, and then it goes, and it'll be gone for another 10 years. We'll see if that plays out, but that was the prediction. And so what we're working with is, releasing this attachment to the personality. And so as we run into places that we're bumping, into this personality, well, we go, oh, I know what this is. So see, now what it is. Its personality is getting obliterated. We're all here to grow. We're all here to expand. We say this all the time, but this is like ratcheted up, bam. It's like sledgehammer. We love to say the spiritual 2x4. No, this is crashing. Personality must go. And that's how it's showing up. That's why this is so hard. That's why it hurt. That's why we're in grief. That's why we're in fear. That's why we're sick. Everything is being obliterated at the level of the personality. I'm just letting that sink in for a moment. Yes, Aggie Payton says yes. This is being recorded, right, Shannon? Mm-hmm. This is super deep, what I'm saying. I may say it more Sunday. I hope it's helping. Any thoughts, questions, or comments?
Yeah, yes. When you started talking about some of the things that you had begun discussing in last night's class, it didn't really register with me until you talked a little more, and I was thinking back about some of the processing that was going on today for me. And I didn't really fully understand where it was coming from or what was triggering it. But it was a lot of past stuff, more of that than I would have expected to be coming up at this moment in time. And it finally dawned on me that yes, I think some of your words last night were helping to put me in touch with that and to begin that processing of some of that older stuff. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, this is a very this is a very intensive process, and the I can't stress enough the importance of going inward during this time. And I don't mean doing 20 hours of meditation a day. I mean time, 30 minutes, 15 minutes to journal, to be outside, to be quiet, to reflect on, what's being asked of you right now. This is like a forced retreat on the world. I mean, it's not like it's one area and we can ignore it. No, this is like a forced retreat for the world. Why would this be happening at such a time? The new consciousness will come in one way or the other. And so, I really believe that the only way it can is one individual at a time. When I wrote this little piece 2 months ago and started working with it, and I go by it every day, many, many times a day, because it's on the outside of my office door with these 2 images that I'm also working with. It's like there is something happening that is nothing is as it seems. It's happening on a cellular, spiritual, invisible level. And the problem is everybody on the news, of course, everybody on Facebook is only looking at the outer, and they're trying to blame somebody for what's happening. Conspiracy theories, chemical trials, what was another one? The Democrats, so everybody's blaming somebody. Well, that's easier than stopping. And eventually we're all going to see that, but China, Deborah, but yes, exactly, Deborah, thank you. We're blaming China. By the way, and in one of the books, not Jane's or what was I saying her name was? I'm spacing on her name now. The writer who predicted it. I don't know why I'm spacing on her name. There was another writer also that called it the Wuhan 400. and it was described as this exact thing that we're seeing. So yeah, we're many of us are in the blame game, but pretty soon that's going to be over too, because they're going to have to deal. There's a woman I saw on Facebook. She's no longer at CCU, but she's a former member, and she keeps telling people it's fear mongering. It's okay to go out. This is a hoax. She's calling it a hoax, a global hoax. And so that's easier on one level than doing what we're doing, which is trying to find the spiritual meaning, trying to find how we walk through this at time and quiet. So finding the reasons in the outer for it happening are pointless at this point for the regular everyday person. I think it's wonderful for the scientists to be about that, because of course we don't want suffering of humanity unnecessarily. But spiritually, our work is to virtually obliterate the ego, but it doesn't really get obliterated. It gets to be its full self rather than this muted fake identity, which is what the ego is. We live in a muted, that's the only way I know to say it. It's like this fake identity. It's like when you were living from the expanded self, it's like the volume is turned up. We're recognizable and people go, wow, I like what you're saying, but I don't know, somehow it's really different. It's expanded. People will say things to you like, I've liked your products before, but somehow, Corey, the way you're talking about them, I'm experiencing the brilliance of this product you're bringing to the world. I know about your work with the lasers and all of that. And so it's not like we are not recognizable. It just becomes more in its full healed state. That's what I'm talking about. So that song I played at the beginning by East Forest, and by the way, I put a link in the chat. Shannon's trained me to do that. I put a link in the chat from East Forest, from Grandmother Sphere. And there's a line in there where he says, my ego and I became partners. And what he's meaning is, I think, I'll say this, the meaning I take from that is that the ego now, oh, you want to get the link again? Sure. Hold on, let me do this. I can't talk and give links at the same time. I'm not that expanded yet. All right, let me try to, oh, this is to Shannon. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow. I was just hoping like maybe somebody else in the chat could pop that in.
Oh, Shannon, I'm going to give it to you because somehow there's a private thing coming here. So
I'll scroll up and grab it. You go.
There you go. There you go. You got it. I just did it again. What that means for me when he says, basically he's talking about ego, my ego and soul became friends, is that okay. I worked with this so big today. So let me just breathe for just a second, because it's very fresh, my work on this. When he says in the song, I talked to my ego and we became friends. What that means is, for me, I'm going to personalize it. I don't try to be a spiritual guru that impresses everybody. I bring my full healed self to the table, including all of my history, including all of those things I identified with. And then the goal is to seek to live beyond those things, but they are included in how I present and how I teach and how I can minister and understand, simply because of my life experience. So it's not like I try to get rid of my past, and I think for a long time I tried to do that. but it's like, this is the whole me, nothing but me. And I'm not going to try to hide parts. I'm not going to try to make parts nice. I'm not going to try to explain the parts or apologize for the parts or have shame about what happened. It's like, here remember, back to that big I am. I hope this is helping.
Can I share a funny thing that happened right before all this broke out?
Sure.
Just speaking, when you were talking from the writings about intuition, and then now you've just mentioned, my intuition and my ego became friends.
Yes.
We know that Easter's coming up.
Yes.
And my job at the church is pretty much to, kick ass at Easter time, with music and creative, cool stuff and whatever.
Uh-huh.
So my ego is going, okay, I've got to top Christmas. I've got to top last Easter. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And my intuition kept going, shh, chill. It's cool. Chill. And I kept my intuition kept telling my ego, would you calm down, please? And so when RCA and I and the leadership first had the conversation about do we close church this week, the idea was for a week or two, because that's where the news was at that point, before we knew it was going to be a much longer process than that. And my intuition, when we had the discussion of like, okay, we're not going to hold meetings on Sundays, my intuition said, see, I told you to be quiet. We're not going to meet on Easter. That's why I told you to just calm yourself. So there, every place that there's that sort of tension between ego and intuition, that's a really great place to stop and breathe into that and saying, okay, why is this? Why am I consistently hearing this contrary and beautiful thing, but I still feel like I have to push and push and push. So that's just a really good indicator, I think, during this time of immense change and even at the cellular level. Yeah.
Beautiful. Exactly. It's one of the reasons I'm proud to have you as our music director. It's one of the reasons I'm proud to have Dawn, as our executive director. Our team so does its work, and we're always listening for what Spirit tried to do in and through. Sorry, I see there's a... Yes, thank you, Kelly, for that. Another example of being quiet and listening. Yes, yes. The ego is always wants to charge forward. The ego will have us feel pushed. So one surefire way to know you're an ego is some part of you feels pushed. And I usually feel that I usually feel it like in my gut, or like, it's almost like it lives like up here, and I'm, it's like, I don't know. I feel it. I just feel it. I feel it in my body usually if I feel, ego pushing. So, it's important to note when we're feeling it so that we can, to Aggie's point, and Aggie, I'm glad you said what you did, we can kind of then unwind it. And again, remember, sorry, I don't see my marker. Hold on. I mean, where could I put it? The desk is here. Okay. We have to let go. Like going to the bank is suddenly a grand adventure. How do we do it? Oh, I want to read, Erica, what you said. Yoga helps me push back and let go. Yes, beautiful. Yoga is a wonderful practice for that. Today, my son and I went out mid-afternoon. Our day was so strange with various things, and we didn't do our morning Tai Chi. I needed sleep, so we slept in a little bit. So our centering practice was Tai Chi in the grass, barefoot. And there's nothing for me like that, and then to do Tai Chi in the grass barefoot for recentering. And, we can't always do that. So how do we, manage through a work day? We're on a call and, we want to push something through. So let go. And I think the thought I want to leave you with is remember who you are. Remember who you are. In other words, I am not my personality. I am not what I think. I am not what I do. I'm not what has happened to me. I'm not what I hope to do. I am. I am. So I want to do see, how long is this? I think I want to read what I wrote again. And no, here's what I want to do. I want us to do practice some deep breathing together. And I want to do the reverse nostril breathing. And after a few moments, I will read this in closing. And then I will I'll type this out. And I wonder how we can get it to people. You'll do that, Shannon? Shannon knows how to do that. Okay. So yeah, let's, I want to just see how long this one. Okay. So I have 2 tracks combined are about 9 or 10 minutes. And that's perfect for our ending time. So I will, we'll start the breathing, and then I'll read this just whenever I feel guided. Oh wait, I see a note in the chat. It's hard for me to, sorry, I thought there was something else in the feed. Okay. So on the reverse nostril breathing, Shannon put a link in there. Again, men, if you're doing it, you start breathing out on the on the right. And the couple of keys about reverse nostril breathing. One is it's important to be empty on the exhale. At the end of the exhale, you hold for a moment. And the more I do it, and I do this with my voice teacher, the more I do it, the more that hold gets longer. And there's a huge trust with that empty when you're not breathing in or out. It's like when I first started doing it, it took me to my knees. I was really in fear, and I had to learn to be able to just be in that space of empty. So when you breathe out, the idea is you're really releasing anything toxic, any judgment, any fear. And I would say, these chunks of personality that none of us have any choice about releasing right now. They're just going to break off. So that's the idea in the releasing, in the breathing out. And then, of course, in the hold is the cleansing. And then you breathe in, and you're breathing in life, goodness, hope, love, peace, gentleness, kindness, faith, all those good things, all those fruits of the spirit. So it may look like a very passive activity, and in one way it is, but in another way, it like wakes everything up, because you're consciously releasing, consciously bringing in, and it's then balancing that masculine, feminine energy. It's bringing you into balance and into your wholeness. So this type of breathing for me has just become a part of my practice. So I will encourage you to do that. So I'm going to play, and Dave, you can give me a heads up on the sound to make sure it's okay. If I need to go up or down, just give me the thumbs up or down. So reverse nostril breathe as you're ready. I am a star, full of clarity and intuition. I shine brightly. As I shine, others will know their light. A star is calm and peaceful, but constantly evolving. It is a fixed luminous point, yet it is constantly changing and moving. A star evolves until it goes back to source. To get back to source is a process of fusion, collapse, and conversion into a new state. Finally, the star expands and throws its essence back into an interstellar environment, creating new stars. The core of the star is but a remnant, but its light has been multiplied throughout the galaxy. This is my work. I am a star full of clarity and intuition. I shine brightly. As I shine, others will know their light. I am a star full of clarity and intuition. I shine brightly. As I shine, others will know their light. I am a star full of clarity and intuition. I shine brightly. As I shine, others will know their light. I am a star. A star is calm and peaceful, but constantly evolving. It is a fixed luminous point, yet it is constantly changing and moving. A star evolved from nebula and continues to change and evolve until it goes back to source. To get back to source is a process of fusion, collapse, and conversion into a new state. Finally, the star expands and throws its essence back into an interstellar environment, creating new stars. The core of the star is but a remnant, but its light has been multiplied throughout the galaxy. This is my work.
Do you want to know what enlightenment is? It's with you every moment. It's a back and forth, letting go of your attachment to yourself, to outcomes, letting go to the way things are. If I could let go of everything, or I could let go of right or wrong, it would get deeper and deeper. And it was amazing. I could sense the lifetime of judgment against myself. And letting that go.
So as you bring your awareness back into the moment, to the present time,
Infinite bliss returns. Instant infinity.
we know that we are guided and guarded by the Holy Spirit. We are loved. We are safe. We are blessed always. I will provide for you the other link of the song. As I was speaking earlier, it's called Soul Speak and is also from East Forest. And I will share the link right now so Shannon can grab that. I'm going to put it in the chat for you now. And my encouragement to you is to use these links as resources. If you have another way of finding music other than Spotify to order it, I think we need lots of ways to keep us grounded and connected. And it's has moved beyond a cerebral mind knowing. And we are being asked to live from a much, much higher place. So just know I encourage you with that. We listen every day to the inner voice, those of us working on the church's behalf. So we thank you for joining us tonight. And I leave you with a social distancing namaste.